So this is going to be the very first video in my new series where I break down makeup application in a way that actually, hopefully, makes sense. I recently asked all of you, my followers, what's something about makeup you wish someone would just explain, simply, that is. And you guys, I have to say, showed up with hundreds of responses. So let's do it. We're going to go step by step. I'm going to answer as many of them as I can, and hopefully after this whole experience and this series is over, the confusion out of this whole thing will disappear and you will love makeup as much as yours truly. So today we're going to start with two of the most asked topics so far: skincare under makeup and how to do your brows, the natural looking kind, that is. Let's get started. Your skincare prep under makeup is everything. If your skin isn't prepped properly, I'm sure you've heard this before, your makeup will never look or even wear the way you want it to or expect it to. Here's exactly what I do in this order, using products that I know from experience just will not peel, only applied in this order and the amount that I apply it on, including the wait time in between, okay? Step 1, micellar water. I love using the Bioderma Hydra Bio H2O. It smells so fresh. It is any micellar water will do. And yes, even if you just washed or cleansed your face, this is still a vital step before applying skincare. I like to use a cotton pad like this. I just get a bunch of them from Amazon. Basically, you want to remove any leftover dirt, cleanser, or residue. And it's just an insurance policy for your skin that I highly recommend. Trust me, this one step can actually change everything. Step 2, you want to use Charlotte Tilbury's eye patches. I absolutely love these eye patches. They definitely do the job. You can feel it because it has a slight tingle after you apply them for a couple of minutes. So basically, you just want to pop them under your eyes. I like to pop the fatter part of the eye patch where I have the most darkness. So I'm darker here than, let's say, underneath my eye or like on the corner of my outer corner of my eye. So this is why I like to put the fatter part where I need it most. I have tried so many different collagen eye masks in my day, and let me tell you, these are very few that actually work, and these actually brighten and they do what they say they do, as opposed to just cooling the under eye down. It depuffs, it hydrates, and it just makes your concealer at the end of the day just look 10 times better. Okay, so while these eye patches do its magic, let's talk eyebrows. Because this was one of the most requested topics, and listen, I totally get it. I mean, I've been through it all, you guys. Over plucking, over filling, weird bald spots I created myself. Like, I've been through it with my eyebrows. This is why I decided to get nanoblading done. I just finished my second round of the procedure, I would say 6 days ago. So I'm still scabbing a little bit. I just have to be very careful with my eyebrow application. However, I still will go through all the steps with you. But after years of research, product testing, and watching just top tier artists do their thing, here's how I currently do my brows for a natural lifted hair-like look. Here are the brow products I'm going to be using. 2 shades. I highly recommend you get 2 shades to add dimension to your eyebrows of Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I use the shades soft brown and medium brown. Then I also, in case I want to create even more dimension or maybe thickness, I will also go in with her brow powder. Now for this specific look, I'm not going to use her brow powder, but if you do get it, I just want to show you what you get. So this is the soft brown shade. You see there's a lighter and a darker, which is exactly what we're trying to mimic. Now the reason why I don't just use this is because I can't make hair-like strokes, no matter how fine or how dense the eyebrow brush is. It still doesn't create those hair-like strokes like her pencils do. Then I will use her brow freeze, which I'll show you. It's not as intimidating as it may sound. And then I will go in as my last step with her brow pen. First step I do is I use the spoolie side. Careful when you open up her brow pencils, because if you don't have it vertically, as you open, let's say this side, which is the pencil side, like it did to me a few times, the whole pencil itself will fall out of the applicator. I hope they fix that soon. So I will use the spoolie side of my ABH Brow Wiz, and I will basically brush the hairs up and also brush them towards my nose, the opposite way, just to examine and kind of just take a look at where there are sparse areas and where exactly I need to fill in the brows, and just making sure all the hair is basically going the same direction, just so I can clearly start brow mapping. Okay, this is how I brow map. I take the other side, the opposite side, or any pencil you want to use, and I'm using soft brown, so I use the lightest shade first. I prefer my brows to be a little bit on the longer side, so I align the brow pencil where my nostril starts, right in that, like that indent, and I lightly just draw a little dot or small line here. Then I go to the center of my pupil. That's where the arch is. Okay, sometimes though I like my arch to be a little off center, but that's again personal preference. Then from that same position, notice how this part of my pencil is not moving. So I just turn it as if it's a clock going clockwise. Then I go to where my eye ends, outer corner of my eye. That is where the eyebrow should end, because I want to create more of a lifted eye look. And in order for that to happen, though naturally most eyebrows, I would say, go down, I want my eyebrows to go out. Using the lighter shade, still soft brown, Anastasia's Brow Wiz, I'm going to go in by holding the end where the spoolie is. I'm going to just put the cap back on so I don't get it dirty. But the lower you hold a makeup brush, eyebrow pencil, the softer your hand. And this is what we want. We don't want any harsh lines. We want to create hair-like, natural looking brows, right? So, and I'm going to just start out, now that I have my eyebrows mapped, though I'm not following this map. The mapping that we just did is mainly just for the top part of the structure, but for the bottom part, that's where I start. I'm going to just hold it vertically, as you see, so that, and from the bottom of the pencil. And I'm basically going to start first just like a quarter into my brow, and I'm just going to lightly shade up until I'm in the same plane as my first mark that I have here. Outline it to the tail, which I've marked here, right? So I need to make sure I go that way so that it hits the bottom of that dot I created. Naturally, you're going to want to go this way, but then that's just going to make your face frown. Going this direction, where I have the tail, the dot of the end of the brow where the tail meets. And I only do a little bit at a time before I switch, just to try and get the brows as symmetrical as possible, which I know we should aim for sisters, not twins. I aim for twins. Okay, so now we're going to do the same, but on the top. Again, starting a little further in. So you see how my eyebrow hairs are going just from here to the top of the brow. They're going vertically. Here out, they start slanting. So I don't want to really touch this part of my brow, the hairs that are going vertically, yet. I do that last. So we're just sketching back and forth gently, light hand, and then basically meeting at the tail, lightly. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Trying to follow my natural brow as much as possible, meeting at the tail. Okay, so back to skincare. We are going to take these bad boys off. Look at the beautiful glow and shine and brightening that this magical eye glows create. This is what I've realized when it comes to skincare under makeup. Using the same brand is very important if you want to avoid peeling at all costs, okay? So, for example, For this, I'm going to be using only Charlotte Tilbury skincare, okay? I am going to use as my first step her toner. Second step, Charlotte Tilbury's serum, Magic Serum. The Magic Cream is more for, I would say, under evening makeup if you're starting from scratch, obviously. Now, if you're going to use SPF, this is what I would use as moisturizer prior to applying SPF. It's Charlotte Tilbury's Magic Water because it's such a lighter base and formula that you could actually lightly add SPF. Charlotte Tilbury has her Invisible UV Flawless Poreless Primer, SPF 50. Okay, this is great, but it's nighttime. I'm not going to use this. Another rule I follow when it comes to skincare under makeup: 3 products maximum. I don't include the eye patches as part of skincare. For tonight, I'm going to use her toner, serum, and her Magic Cream. This is another reason why makeup peels, because when it comes to skincare, if you just plop on without intentionally using a very tiny amount, and then you use sunscreen, and then you use moisturizer, that's when your makeup peels no matter what products you use, even if you use the same brand. You can't expect results if you don't give whatever you're doing time. I know we're all in a rush, I get it, but you got to sacrifice something, or you got to choose one or the other, okay? So, or make time for it. It's just like, it's basic rules of life. You can use this with a cotton pad, but I actually prefer my hands because I feel like I save more product that way. And I'm just like really wanting to pat everywhere on my face, focusing more on the T-zone. Okay, so while the toner works its magic, guess what? We're moving back to brows. Step number 3 is define with hair-like strokes. So I'm going to still use this lighter pencil and shade. So I'm going to go in starting from the center of starting a quarter in to my brow, basically. Just soft little flicks, creating hair-like strokes. And lightly, again, just a reminder to hold your pencil from the very bottom. So if you see, I'm going to go towards where I brow mapped the beginning, right, of my brow. And the key is to leave space in between each hair-like stroke. Okay, so I barely did anything, and I'm just going to leave it as is right now. I also wanted to preface that I actually go back to my brows and finalize them with the brow gel and brow pen when I'm done my complexion already, my cheeks. But I do like to map my brows with my pencils prior to makeup application, because at least I can see a roadmap of the foundation that we're working with. So now that Charlotte Tilbury's toner has been activated, I'm going to go in with her Magic Serum. This isn't cheap, so if you've never tried these products, and if you don't know how your skin's going to react, I highly suggest just getting the smaller travel size bottles of as many products as they offer if it's Charlotte Tilbury. It feels luxurious. You don't need a lot of product, honestly. You want to definitely let this sit though for, I would say, the minimum amount of time. 30 seconds, ideally at least a minute. You can always add some gel to your brows. You could even start curling your lashes. I like to do my lashes prior to putting complexion on. Okay, so now that we are waiting for this serum to work its magic, I'm going to go in with the darker shade. I'm going to go in, same technique, but I'm going to start more towards the center, especially trying to avoid that darker spot. And I'm just going to go with light, very lightly. I can't emphasize that enough, just back and forth. Leave that for now, and I'm going to go to this brow, my favorite brow. I'm going to go in back with the spoolie and just kind of comb through gently, blending everything together. Okay, so I noticed that this is not on the same plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of micellar water using a very pointed Q-tip, and I'm just going to take a little bit off the bottom. So if you're ever going to just add, I guess if you want to add more hair-like strokes and to make your eyebrows look fuller, I would add from the top of the brow, not the bottom. That's when it starts to look unnatural. A little bit off there. Cleaning that up. Okay, that's more like it. Let's just look at my mirror. Not sure if this is a good mirror. My phone. Okay, yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, we're gonna leave it there, and then we're gonna do the last step of skincare next. Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. What's so great about this, I just bought the refill. You don't need to buy this whole package. Again, this is what costs a lot, is the actual packaging. You can just buy the actual moisturizer or cream that goes in it, and you save quite a lot. I'm barely putting any product. I just want you to know I'm going in with my ring finger. Ring finger is important because it's your most delicate finger of all 5 fingers. Grazing the top of this moisturizer because I'm it ain't cheap, right? So every little, you don't want to waste anything. You want to warm it up between your 2 ring fingers, maybe a little bit on your middle finger if you want. But basically you want to press it into the skin, starting the T-zone. When I say such a light layer, because I have used this and I have peeled when I have decided to put a thicker layer on because it feels so luxurious against your skin, like you just want more. But if you're applying makeup, this is not smart. So learn your lesson from my failure. This is my last step, as I mentioned, before makeup, and it just makes everything glide like butter. You do not really need a primer on top of this at all, but that SPF, Charlotte Tilbury SPF I showed you, acts as a primer as well. For this step, ideally, you want to honestly wait 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if I was going to be doing a full face, after this, I wouldn't go back to my brows because that would require me to put brow freeze on. I don't want to set my brows just yet. I will go in, heat my eyelash curler, curl my lashes, and put my first layer of mascara. But this is so important to wait 3 to 5 minutes, you guys, after applying this moisturizer. Beauty takes time, folks. So while this magic cream works its magic, no pun intended, I'm going to curl my lashes as promised. Use a blow dryer or a lighter at your own risk. Careful, test it out on your finger as far as heat goes, making sure you don't burn your eyelids off. I light my eyelash curler. Now, if you have eyes shaped like mine, maybe you don't have tons of eyelashes, right? I don't have tons at all. I have been using Latisse, and I used Latisse years ago. When I used it the first time, consistently, daily, every night, my lashes grew so fast, so thick, beautiful, long. Then I stopped. When I stopped doing that for a couple of years and then started just recently, it wouldn't take. Actually, the formula made me have bald spots and it scared the crap out of me. So I stopped using it. I have learned that when you use any type of chemicals to any type of growth serums, you don't want it to work right away and so fast because then you know there's something really potent in there, and if not used consistently can actually damage whatever it is that you're trying to grow. That is just my experience. Take it or leave it. So I'm going to light my Refer lighter. There's so many great eyelash curlers out there. It just depends on your specific eye shape. Okay, so it's warm to the touch, not hot. I like to look straight into a mirror, a handheld mirror. And from the root, I also wear contacts, by the way, so I have to be careful. But from the root, okay, I'll get up in there. And sometimes I'll just like make this facial expression, just like smile with my eyes squinted to really get all up in there. And I'll lightly just pulse and squeeze, but keeping my eyelash curler at the same angle every time. Okay, rather than just holding it here for like a minute or longer. I'm just lightly pulsing and squeezing, giving it some breathing time, but not moving the direction my eyelash curler is in at the moment. Look at the difference. Now you can actually see my eyelash hairs, my little sparse hairs. Making sure you're as far into the root or onto the root of the lash as possible. One more for good luck. So this is the eye, as you can see. I'm still recovering from Latisse. It's bald a little bit. Do you see that space right there? Also, stress will do this to me as well. So it could be a mixture of both. Who knows? Okay, so I'm actually going to, since I'm not going to put complexion or any makeup on, we're going to stop as soon as I'm done with the brows here. I'm going to use and show you how to use Anastasia Beverly Hills' Brow Freeze. However, for beginners, if you're a beginner and you're not too familiar when it comes to brow gel, I would actually get the Rare Beauty. This is the best. You can guarantee it's not going to clump or peel off any white, weird clumps from the gel. When I first started getting into all of this and using brow gel for the first time, this was what I gravitated towards because every brow gel, and I tried a lot of brands, would just peel or it would go on really thick. Now the key is to, like my mascara, I like to actually wipe off any excess just to start. Remember, you can always layer more, you just can't take it off, especially when it comes to brow gel. Careful of any hairs. I'm going to go in with her Brow Freeze. This thing dries up quickly, folks. So if I were you, as soon as you open this, keep it close by because you want to close it up right away. I'm grazing lightly, very lightly. Mind you, I know this may seem like it takes forever, right? Like you don't have an hour. It doesn't take an hour. The reason why it's taking me so long is because I'm trying to get as much information to you as possible while demonstrating. And remember, this step is not until after you've applied most of your makeup. So there's that. As you see, I patted off any excess on the palm of my hand. So if you notice, there's little clumps. So you just want to like kind of graze it to make sure the product's evenly distributed onto your spoolie. Go like this. Elbow is up. And I'm going to so light, comb through the brows. So notice how my brows are starting to wake up a little bit. So that's the direction that I want my brows for the most part to go. They're gonna lay back down here in a second. So I'm gonna exaggerate it here for you. That's it. That's really it. Just where the hair is lightly. I'm not touching my skin, only the hair. And now they're frozen, like my face. Last step coming up. We finish with Anastasia's brow pen. This is in the shade Soft Brown. So notice how I'm using soft brown quite a lot. Once the brow freeze has set, which it has, I go in now with any sparse areas that I see. There's like one right there. There's a couple here. I go in lightly using a brow pen. I know how intimidating this can be, but I just want to show you. It's not like a liquid eyeliner by any means. Look at that. Like you could barely see anything. And I'm actually pressing quite hard, right? So this is the most realistic, I guess, product, not just this brand, but any brow pen really, that will create hair-like strokes. I hold the pen again at the very tail end, and I just go in, let me start here, where I see space. Now the key with this is to really lightly go in and flicking the product up, but leaving space in between. You only want to add a few, just to create more dimension and to create maybe just to fill in a couple of sparse areas. Also, take it or leave it, but I believe looking at yourself on a handheld mirror for too long will kind of start getting blurry. So always take yourself away from the mirror and look from a distance at a mirror so that everything looks proportioned and balanced. And there you have it, folks. Makeup doesn't have to be intimidating. You just need someone to explain it in a way that hopefully makes sense. And I hope that I accomplish that for you. Don't ever hesitate to ask any questions in the comments below. Let me know what you want me to do next. Do you want me to do brows using only brow powder? But for episode 2, we're going to move on to the most asked question that I got from all of you guys. The difference between contour versus bronzer. Stay tuned for that. You're going to need a pen and paper. I'll see you next time. Bye.